So, episode 10 of the Molloy Twins podcast, our last guest episode.
Last guest of 2023.
Season 1. And today we're joined by a man who doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyways because I read his book. So I feel like I know him a bit better. So, I'm going to give you the introduction. Don't change the camera to Paddy. Fuck, what that's saying his name. Don't change the camera yet. Right, and I want you to rate the introduction after, right?
Right.
Alright. This is like my
There's
Bruce
pressure
Buffer
on this
moment.
now,
Yeah, right?
Bruce Buffer.
That's what I was saying. I'm being introduced by Bruce Buffer, so you're on the ropes.
True. Right, so from fighting on the fields of Jobstown to the biggest stage in the world, from the kid who grew up with no father to the father that lives for his children, from the council estate to the city council, the first Irish man to win a UFC fight on Irish soil, Paddy the Hooligan Hoolahan. Welcome to the podcast.
That was
I'll give
good,
you a
actually.
6.
6 out of 6. Yeah.
I'll give you a 6, all right? Generous 6, yeah. That was very good. Good to see you read my book, so that's a good one, yeah. So,
Fair play. I'm impressed by that limo. That was solid. I've got goosebumps and all.
that was good. The Bruce Buffer has introduced me, that's what I was saying there, so that's a hard one to follow, you know what I mean? But Bruce is in your head and you're like, Jesus, that's a Bruce Buffer.
He's mad. Mad. Paddy, thank you very much for coming down and chatting to us, man. We really appreciate it. I know you're a busy man, so appreciate your time. We have an open tradition on the podcast where every guest answers a question that was left by the previous guest. And turns out you actually know our previous guest quite well.
Owen Gorman.
Owen Gorman.
Owen Gorman.
Yeah.
We had Owen in last week.
All right, Jesus Christ, that's a hard podcast, I'd say, was it?
Very, to be honest, the way that he speaks is, I don't know how he does, but his strength and how positive he is taking what he's been through and the situation and how he's kind of reframed it for himself and taken it into a new lease of life is so inspirational.
That was incredible. Owen was such an inspiring man. So anyone that doesn't, obviously has watched the previous podcast, if you haven't watched it, Owen was one of my students, flying along, young man, flying in martial arts and life and everything, and then fell off his bike, broke his neck. Sad thing is, this could happen to anybody, and in such a failing country, we have a situation where Owen is in the National Rehabilitation Centre, and he's organised his house, he's figured the house, he pays the rent in the house now, but there's no care package in his area for him to return home. So anybody that's watching this could be me, or this could be you, or could be anybody else any other day. One day you leave your house and something happens to you and you never return to that house again because you physically can't get in the door, or you can't do so. In all of the failures that we highlight in the country, there's a lot of them that we try to highlight at council level or whatever, and Owen is so strong. So strong.
Oh, man. That's what I thought it was going to be, a very difficult episode.
Yeah.
He made it easy for us. Just his
demeanour,
like he's just grateful to be alive, and you can see like he's very grateful for it.
He's very good. His Gabriel Saoirse as well is another incredible person, you know what I mean? That stood by him and does a lot for him and stuff like that. And yeah, two incredible people.
Definitely.
So great to see you at home. I didn't know that.
You have to watch it now.
Absolutely. It's people like that are heroes to me, you know what I mean? It's not
100%.
Big time.
Not celebrities.
Big time. So the question that Owen left for you, Paddy, was what influence would you like to have on someone else?
Did Owen know he was coming on?
He did.
I want to give more from this life than I take. Always being that way. So my advice to people is to try not get caught into this like this realm of what we should be or who we should be, or we look into our phone and we see what happiness is, and like happiness is an inside job. It's and when you figure that out, like the saying where there's no youth and wisdom in the same place, because it takes you to spend your youth to get your wisdom. But what I see a lot of times these days is the youth and that time of youth is occupied by absolute bullshit. And what happens is that then the wisdom doesn't really come. But when people get older, they think that maybe they are wise. But so we kind of end up with a little bit of like a know-it-all environment, you know what I mean?
Leading the blind,
Yeah, like, and I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking, say, my 16-year-old son. We could be talking about fish on a mountain or something, and I'd be like, that's actually not true. And he's like, it is true. Like, take your phone out and Google it. No.
Yeah.
So you know it's not true now, you know? So that's what I want to do. I want to inspire people. I want to show people that like you can do absolutely anything, and I can believe that. I believe I can do anything. I've always believed that. You know, my soul is guided, and I have people that live with me and people that are around me know. They're like, when I say that, they're like, yeah, okay. And then times pass and circumstances ended up just meeting that should have never met, and they're like, wow. And I'm like, I told you. You didn't believe me, and then I told you. But my soul is guided, and I'm trying to use everything that I have or anything that I gain and change this place so all of us can raise children in a better place, you know, a place where our next generation is going to be better, because the generation that's Generation that's running this country is stinking. It's corrupt. It's but like the generation under, I can see them. I can see them starting to go, no, hold on. I don't like that, you know what I mean? But then, say, the generation just under me is kind of stuck in that quagmire, that realm that I'm talking about. So, say, your age there, your younger brother, he has just, I think, missed that generation where, I don't know, maybe they're a little bit fed up with social media now. Maybe they don't care what people say about them, but my generation just gone was very fresh in that.
Yeah.
So, long answer. Look after yourself and make sure that you're living you know, nobody else. Don't be living for anybody else.
Sure, I think you're a man who embodies that message as well as anyone else. You know, I think I got your book on Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
And I finished it this morning. So I read the whole thing. And I have to say, I'm not just saying this because you're on the podcast. It's top 3 favourite books of all time.
Thank you.
What's the other two?
The other two, The Snapper, Roddy does. The film is gas, but the book's even better. And Christy Digham's autobiography.
Wow.
Paddy Hoolahan's right up there.
I'm in good company. What?
Yeah. There's a quote in it that's fucking gas. It was... I have the heart of a gladiator, but the body of a jockey.
It's the truth, yeah. Richie Barrett. So Richie Barrett helped me write the book, basically. As
yes.
And Richie's a good lad. And I was able to trust him. You know, I needed to trust him. So doing that book was like therapy. Some people don't even know we have a book. Some people do be like, wow. And it's kind of like, I don't want to say that's a conspiracy, but kind of is in a way, you know. Like, I never got no phone call off the Late Late Show. I never, you know. And then I look at some people that did, and I'm like, wow, this makes no sense, you know. I tried to give it to Tommy Tiernan on his show, but it seemed like he was just about, like, I don't know, just making me look like somebody else. So everyone has seen that show.
Yes,
so my people rang me and were like, Paddy, he didn't really come across well. I'm like, what you mean? And then I looked at it, and it was like someone sushi'd it up in an editing process, you know what I mean? And it was like,
yeah.
So my view of Tommy Tiernan would have changed drastically. I handed him my book. He looked me dead in the eye, put it to the side. He wasn't interested about any of that. So, and in that whole time, I had been getting offered onto Joe Brolly's show and all that sort of these.
Nice.
And then all of a sudden I got bang, got a bus on same day as the election. All of a sudden, all of this madness comes out, and I was like, oh, that all makes sense now, you know. So I understand this game more than people even expect, you know. So with my book was a little bit of like in that, I don't know, an 8 Mile, where he turns around to the guy and goes, tell them something they don't know about me. You know. So if you read my book, and then some people come to me and go, they did a part, I think it was like the newspaper picked up my book basically a year or two after I was born and said, Paddy Hoolahan was helped by the Queen, and they had a big spread of me in the middle of the paper and stuff like that, and saying the Queen got him off, and
the court case got dismissed or
whatever. And it was like, all right, so you went in and read my book, and you didn't tell them the real process of it. And you had a picture of the Queen in the paper and me, and it's like, it's weird. It's so weird, you know what I mean? But one of the best lessons I've got over the last little while is the media and just how they are, and how dangerous they are. You know,
like the truth is irrelevant.
It doesn't matter.
It's the version of the truth they want to put out there is
we had said you are what I accuse you of, basically. That's the thing. And it's the news is Denzel Washington says it's not about who's true, it's about who's forced these days. There's no accountability for these people hide behind like labels and slates and all this kind of stuff. They can do things like this with their fingers, and all of a sudden they didn't say that because they was in quotation marks. And when they go to college now, I think it's more about not how to be a journalist, but it's how to not get sued and how to do a lot of these things. So,
how to create a story.
I have so much respect for honest journalists and honest people, but let me tell you, they're in the 10% because the other 90 are horrific, are terrible. I had journalists knocking on my door, standing outside my shopping centre asking people what their opinion of was me, you know? And they couldn't find somebody that said that bad. I think they found one person, but it was from a different gym that was down the road and all.
Just dragged them down.
And let me tell you one thing, I don't need to walk with security in my areas. I don't need no barriers outside my building, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I walk amongst the people, you know, and our government are currently boarding themselves up into like a fortress because... Oh yeah, you represent the people. No, you don't. You know. So, and the media is like their henchmen. The media sit on the hill. They're like a machine gun. They're like a pillbox, and all of these politicians hide behind them. And everyone is trying to come up the beach and trying to work their way towards to say something to these people. You pop your head up, you're on your own. Bang! The pill of the media. Get them. And then the people watching on, unfortunately, are like. They live in the realm that I talked about where I'm kind of afraid to say I share this guy's story because now Instagram's saying, are you sure you want to share this guy's story now, you know? Like my partner, Chelsea, It's not controversial at all. I tried to share a picture of our kid or something. They're like, "Are you sure you want to share this person's contact?" And you're like, "Well, we share a bed." You know what I mean? So I'm like, yes,
I've shared worse.
you know what I mean? In a way, so the media needs a really overhaul, and I hope, and the reason why I'm pointing towards you is because I'm kind of done fixing broken adults in a way, you know. Now I do this with my gym and stuff like that and all. My job now is to inspire the youth, the young generation that can see, like, listen, we need you. You are going to be the doctors and the police and the politicians of the next generation. So that's why I try to talk to them and say, like, listen, snap out of it. I have a massive facility not far from here, Hoolahan Martial Arts, Clan Hoolahan. The clan means it's anyone that doesn't feel like they belong to their family, or even if they do, there's another family, and it's a clan, and it's ours, and we all look after each other. And there's like 350 people training there now, and that's what we do. You know what I mean? And taking action, you know. And most of these people that would be trying to, I don't know, blacken my name or something like that, they could not tie my shoes.
I believe it.
Sorry, lads.
No, yeah, good.
The long questions, yes. So you have about 5 questions. I'll take an hour.
There you go. I think that. One of the questions I wanted to ask you off the bat, but I'm kind of even hesitant now. Studio session, but like, you know, for someone who has accomplished so much in so many different areas, whether it's fighting, politics, opening your own gym, businessman, family, what's your proudest achievement so far?
My children.
Yeah.
By far, my children. Eminem has a part in a song where he says, "You taught me," basically his father, "You taught me how to be a father by not being in my life." You know what I mean? And I remember even hearing that and being, wow, that's so, I've been doing that and I didn't have to hear that to do it. My children, it's my first son Tiernan was born, I remember that, 16 years now, you know what I mean? I was only a kid. What
age were you?
I was 18, 19.
Right.
I was still in school. I was like, now I see people going, well, if he has a kid, his life is over. And I'm like, now let me tell you one thing. Because I have a kid, my life is where it is, and it started.
Yeah.
I was handed him. I remember going, it felt like I was at the doing, I don't know, drugs or something. Whoa, just no time, concept for a few minutes. I'm driving home. I have this love burning, this pride, I'm just crying, like mad emotional, purging, and just most incredible thing of my life. You know what I mean? And then, then many years later, so me and his mother split up years in between, and we've always got on well. We've always never really fought around like that. We just grew apart, and that's life just gone on. There's parts in the books you'll see, and some of it was hard, some of it was, and we all change. And but then I wouldn't have never met Chelsea, who we're with now, who was the love of my life. Now she harasses me as well a bit, but it's about stuff that, like, so she's from Liverpool, and we kind of have different cultures as well. Even though
I can imagine,
I would be sitting there and picking me toenails or something. She'd be, what are you doing? You know, I'm just picking me toenails. Like, don't do that. You know, so just little stuff. But I have 3 beautiful children with Chelsea. So I have Seamus, whose birthday it is today. So
happy birthday, Seamus!
Your whole journey as parents, me and her. Her first being a parent basically started this time 5 years ago. Same idea. I remember driving up this road from the Coolman. It was the same. It was, wow, the feeling. But I was so blessed this time because I'd done so much in between Tiernan being born and actually using that fuel. We don't want for nothing. We don't want for anything, and we are so grateful for everything we have. Doesn't mean we are like greedy or anything. You know what I mean? We're so grateful for what we have. My kid wants something for Christmas. You have it, you know. But back, I wasn't like that with Tiernan. Tiernan was my kid where I had to, like, my go-getter. Now, he never wanted for anything either. And then we have Fela, who is tough work.
There's always one.
Fela's crazy. Fela's like so her personality is great. She's like Angelica or something. Like she has little pigtails and all. Is she? She's 2 now, so she will be 3 coming soon now. And then we have Keola. So Keola is my only ginger. So,
really?
Yeah, Fela obviously means festival. Seamus is obviously, he's named after a guy who I really respect in my area. Random one, basically. It's a guy who helped me get into jiu-jitsu. His father, I named him after. Right. So Seamus, basically. And then Keola, which it means musical. And she's my only ginger, and she's mad. She's one. She's like upright, 5 o'clock in the morning, nappy, alright. Has my big blue eyes, and oh man, I'm blessed even saying that. You know what I mean? And then obviously we have big community and businesses and all this kind of stuff and all. But my children, everything else.
Any of the kids into fighting? I know there's a few young ones. Tiernan, is he into?
Tierna's actually a goalkeeper, basically.
Goalie, yeah.
And he always has been since I remember. Like he was playing in goals, so he just chips away. He's very he's into computers. He's had to taking a good hold of his health the last little while. I think he's lost like 12 kilos since Christmas. He told me, so he comes into the saunas with me and all. But like he's 16 now, so I see him out the other side for the point, you know what I mean? He leaves me on unread and all now, you know what I mean? I send him a message, how are you getting on? So he'd read it, and then 2 days later he'll probably get a reply, you know? So I'll see him out the backside, I will, and then Fayla's kind of like, I don't know, I think she spends too much time with Sean O'Bannon. Side kicks, dush, takedowns. Seamus is in jiu-jitsu, so it's great, you know, so it's the family business, you know what I mean, in that way. You cannot take over some of the stuff that we've created as my kid unless you do walk up the ranks and become a black belt, and it's rigged, the family inheritance.
There's a hierarchy. I like it. Yeah.
Just walk in and take it.
You're not born into nothing. I was interested to ask you, Paddy, because I know as you were given that sort of opening answer in terms of the impact you'd like to have on another person, you said happiness is an inside job. How long did it take you to figure that out?
We had a situation when I was a kid that I got a bang of a brick, basically, and I had 2 blood clots on my brain. I was in Bournemouth for a long time. I wasn't going to make it. I was nearly ended up in a wheelchair situation.
Right.
And I know it sounds young, but I think I was 7, not maybe 9 years of age at that age. At that time, I was out the road, got a bang of a brick in the face, and the blood clot went up into my brain. I was asleep on the couch. I was just, I have a headache, and then bang, I woke up on a operating theatre. Basically, I had to get things like an air helicopter to Bournemouth and all sorts. Really? It was crazy. It went crazy quick, you know. And I just remember waking up after all, and I was in the room on my own, and I was okay. And I remember laughing a little bit, like, wow, I made it. And I just remember saying to myself, this is like a bonus. This is a bonus. Like I had a mad out of body experience and all and that kind of stuff. It's in my book, you would have read it. Yeah. I'm standing there and I'm in the room and I'm in these little blue pants, and I remember looking down at them and I'm looking over and I'm lying on a table, basically. I know this sounds weird. And it's like, I don't know, what did your head do it as a dream or whatever which way, but very vivid. Yeah. And like I'm wrapped in tinfoil and stuff like that I was, and they were working on me on a thing, so I had 2 surgeries. One of them worked, and then I had a major bleed in the middle of the night and they had to rush me back to theatre. My mum wasn't there, and maybe that was the second time that I was on my own. But then I remember waking up in that room, and I know this is a long answer to the story, but where did I get it? Because it's a big question as well. Where did you get happy from? Some people who go to the park, and you know, this is, to me, it was like that's where I got it from. I remember being like, now, I'm not happy all the time, but this was like, this is a second chance. You know what I mean? And we all get sad. We all get sad. But there's a great saying that I use when I get sad, and it's called Tá Bran Orm, which means sadness is upon me.
The Irish,
basically, we do not have a translation for I am sad, because you cannot physically be sad. You can't be it. So it's a wrong translation in English for I am sad. That's, you know what I mean? I am food. You know what I mean? But Tá Bran Orm, basically, and I remember I say that to myself when I do get times when I'm sad. You know what I mean? We all get sad. Sadness is an energy that comes upon you, so you appreciate happiness. So there's a lot of stuff there where sometimes you can you hit sadness and then you panic a little bit, and then all of a sudden you slide down the sadness slide, and it's very hard to come back up, you know. So when I'm sad, I say to them, I'm just sad today. I'm just a little bit sad. I just feel maybe a little bit sad of myself, you know. Yeah, and she just be like, "Oh, don't say that." She's very like, if we talk about my childhood, Chelsea just be like crying, like, away out of that, will you? That was making of me, you know what I mean? If I could do it all over like that again, I would. So that's where I get my happiness from. Appreciation, probably, you know what I mean? I'm grateful for being here, and that fuels me.
That's powerful. Reading the book, I was like, there's a lot of different times in it where it's like things should have ended up so much worse for you than they did. And I was like, this fella's a bit of a cat. Like, he just keeps on coming back. What stands out to you has been like so if you talk about like where happiness comes from, is there any like standout low moment throughout the whole 20 odd years you've been here? The idea of understanding where we are in life, you know what I mean? That's important. So one of my standout moments would be like, I'd slip my disc in my back. I was in a bad way. Anyone ever dealing with back pain or anything like this, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. It's a very low point. You can just be walking around one day and then get hurt, and then all of a sudden you're enabled. You know what I mean? Like, and as I said at the start, we're own. I can't imagine where he gets that strength from. And I was walking across a field one time. I had my son. And I just I was trying to, I was 9-0 at that time. I just came back from the Ultimate Fighter. I was messed up. And the UFC were coming to Dublin. I was like, no, I'm going to miss that bout. I couldn't move. And I
I ended up like I couldn't walk across the field. I had to sit down. I ended up lying down. It started to rain. It was like I'm part of a film or something, you know. And I was just like, this is just fucking horrible. This is a horrible point in my life, you know what I mean? Like I would have, like, if you could have asked me, like, would you rather be dead now? You know what I mean? At that time, at that moment, yeah, maybe just to be out of that pain. I was in so much pain, you know what I mean? So, but that was a low point. But a surgeon, Keith Sinney, probably saved my life in that way, you know what I mean? And
really,
done the surgery. We had, again, I don't know what it is with double surgeries, but I done the surgery. He done a microdiscectomy, took a bit off my disc. That was on the 13th of December, I think, and then I fought in the UFC in July.
Okay.
You know, so I had that recovery in between that.
Yeah.
But I had 2 surgeries because the first one worked, but then I went back training. I was good. I was clear to go back, and it went again. And if there was something up there, and it was messing with me at that time. I was like, "Do you really want it?" Yeah. So, and then to say where I get it from would be, I'm guided. Swear to God, my soul is guided, and all them little moments you're talking about, I'm glad you noticed them in that book, because at the time in my life, I definitely noticed them. You know, like, and it's like, I don't know what it is. I don't ask for I don't ask for like strength or anything like that. I pray for hard times, so I grow strength from that, and that's a great saying. The idea of like, with you praying, and I don't pray to like to the Catholic religion God across. I pray to what that feeling is that I have. That is, you're fucking here. There's something going on here. You know what I mean? Why have you blessed me? Why am I like this? You know, and I'm guided. So I always say, send me the people I need to tell me whatever I need to do, or for you to further whatever needs to happen, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sitting here thinking, people are going, Paddy, you says he's a prophet. No,
he has the bears there.
It's a good one.
See him building an ark out.
I just feel like I can go through fire. You know, I think there's a song, and the guy says, I will walk through hell drinking petrol and sandals. You know what I mean? That way, it's like, I think we could do that.
Give it a bash.
I even get out the other side of that. I'll be bored or whatever, but I'm coming out the other side. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with that. Like, and I stick into it. I'm not stubborn in a way of where when I'm wrong that I stick down, but if I'm right and every single person on this whole planet turns their back on me, I promise you, I will stick to my guns and I will stick to my ground, and I won't be just going, well, this is my opinion and this is how I feel. It's not. I've dealt with, like, say during COVID and all, it's funny, people are like, you're getting this off Facebook, you're like, you do understand that I have the ability in my hand to talk to some of the best virologists on this planet. You know, like, shoot them a little message on Instagram, maybe they don't want to say something, having a conversation. Now we have Tony down the road who's some sort of paediatric nurse or paediatric even, I don't know, person that deals with children, and they're like, I know now, because I work in a healthcare centre. You don't. You don't know. You know, you think you know, and I don't know, and no one knows. But if you think that because you have this suit, because you have this title, that now you know, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? So,
big time.
Guided. I should have just said guided, shouldn't I?
The trials and tribulations that made him.
100%.
But the mindset, even when you speak about these things, like, I can see directly how that translates to a UFC fighter, and to stepping into a cage and going up against just the willingness just to go and get stuck in. Tell me, I know growing up, you grew up in Belfast, wasn't it, for a little bit of time, and then into Jobstown, thrown into the deep end. When did the martial arts and getting involved in that come along?
It was actually really, I was older. So between, there's a place in Lannadown in Belfast, basically, I've told these stories as well. Anyone who's heard podcasts will be fucking going on again. But, so I grew up, even when I say to people, I grew up in
straight away,
Even in Belfast, that's a bit of a mad place. You know what I mean? Great community, though, solid community. And it would have been between my aunties and so we still lived in Dublin, but I spent all my summers, all my Christmases up there, all my Christmases up till I was probably 8. Was just getting out of Dublin, basically. I was going to Belfast for a break. It was brilliant to me. But Jobstown and stuff like that, when I was growing up, it was a little bit crazy. It was very deprived, and like the kids I was growing up with, there was a lot of problems in like social housing, in their houses maybe, and I've spilled onto the streets, and it was rough when I was growing up, you know what I mean? But it still hasn't been fixed, and it still hasn't been, it's more used as a political tool in a way. These areas are drastic, and these people end up, like humans, end up starting to survive and deal with themselves. And then in them areas, you have some of the best people ever, some of the most extraordinary people ever. You know, you come from one of them, you know what I mean? Them boroughs or areas. So, and then growing up in Jobstown, then my pride for where I come from is, I love that place, you know what I mean? Like, it's probably the worst. The only kind of accepted discrimination or kind of like public I don't say racism because it's not racism, but it's classism. It's
Yeah,
classism.
yeah,
I
yeah.
seen a bit of art basically a little while ago, and they drew basically probably 90% of my housing estate, and was like, that's the problem. It's very recent. I won't point out who it was, but it was a guy with had his mask up, and they were trying to make him out, and it's like, what a dickhead getting away with that. You know, I'd love to see you do that with something else and have the audacity to put that out. Would you put that out about a religion, about sexual orientation?
Yes,
would you? No, you would not.
No chance.
But it's okay to be classes like that, and you know, you're from a place like I'm from. You know what I mean? So there is a working class culture, and it's developed as well because of, now this doesn't give excuses for stupid shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there is, like, I don't know. People, when they're put into places, they start to grow and they start to figure the stuff out themselves. And my area, Jobstown, was very deprived. When they built the houses, even before I was born, there was no shopping centres, there was no schools, they built the houses and they didn't build the infrastructure.
Figure it out, yeah.
I'm dealing with the same problem in the council. I'm 35 now. This was happening before I was born. In the council now, you look at City West, they put up all of these, they went against all the development plans.
Yeah.
They created a thing. I know Kenny probably didn't talk about this when he was on, but I'll definitely talk about it. So they created a thing called an SHD project, which the development project would have been, if you were a developer and you came and you presented 100 houses to build,
right,
you skipped the planning permission basically where it was at council level.
Okay.
So you didn't have to go through council. Oh, if I didn't want this in my housing estate, it would have been like, so what? We're saving the housing crisis, okay? So like anything, don't give this government any sort of crisis because they will make a bag of money out of it.
Yeah.
And they built all of these apartments, so they went against the local development plan, which was the height of the building. So they went up as high as they could. The Lewis line now in the morning is packed. The traffic is crazy. The place is in the school trying to get a doctor's appointment, and it's like, so they're building the housing first before the infrastructure. You know what I mean? And so they're still doing a lot of these mistakes. But the SHD project to me was a scam to give a free rein basically to developers to be able to build as many, and they'll go, well, they have to live somewhere. Okay, we should have created a national building company, and we should have built the houses on social land. And it's like 10%. So if you build 100 of these houses, 10% will go to social housing.
Yeah.
So you're 90% there.
Private and affordable housing.
Yeah.
Listen to this. I'm trying to figure this out still. Maybe you can help me.
We might be able to help you, maybe not.
10% are social and 20% are affordable housing. What is the other 70%? If they're admitting that this is affordable, what's the other 70%? Unaffordable housing.
Yeah, unaffordable.
Don't put that on the leaflet though, you know what I mean? It's unaffordable housing because now they've created affordable housing. There's houses going down your way basically on an affordable housing scheme, the Clonburris and all this kind of
the back of your house.
Back of your house.
Or up to like 300 grand, lads. And then there's ideas that, right, when you pay it off, you can give us the other 60 grand at the end. There's other plans coming out that, and these are opposition plans as well. You actually don't own the land under your house. We own that, and we'll take it off the price of your house. Right, so I'm going to build my house on your land, and you own it, and then I can buy the land back maybe in a while. These are the ideas that are coming about, rather than like just a lot like they say that the tenant in situ scheme. All right, so there's a tenant in situ scheme, which basically means that I came up with this idea. I don't care what anybody says. All right, now the project was already created, but the idea of like, why aren't we doing this? In January, I put a motion into the council, right, saying we need to be buying the houses off the landlords who want to sell them, who already have people in them on HAP or RAS, so social housing basically, to make a social housing. And it links in with the idea of not that we're all social housing, they're all private housing, and it creates this divide. When we were kids, this is the way it was done. And the social housing estate, you didn't let your kids play with them kids, you know what I mean? Now, because of the integration, basically, they mix social housing with private housing. But even when they're building these projects, sometimes they're building over there, which one's the social housing? You want 100% of the people know where the social housing is. They block them in, they've done exactly what they fenced it off. And fairness to some councils, they fight really well to stop this from happening. But the tenant in situ scheme. So I passed this motion. At the time, there was only ever one house in that year bought through this scheme. And I'm like, what? There's 300 bought now. 300. So 300 houses that were landlords wanted to sell back to the council basically to make social housing, who already had the person in it. Some people living there 14 years. Little old Paddy pushed something forward, but listen, You won't hear this stuff on the newspapers.
No,
right?
no.
I did this in January. I did this motion in January, and it passed unanimously in South Dublin County Council. And then in March, I hear Leo and old Mihal, best of mates, you know what I mean? So what we need to be doing now is we need to be buying these houses off the tenants.
Genius. Where did you get that idea from?
Where did you get that from? You know what I mean? But like, now I won't claim all of the others. So that councillor's doing great work on it. But let me tell you one thing: there's 300 people living in houses because of the idea of that upstart of like, let's get the housing sorted. There's many ways to skin a cat, you know.
Yeah.
And these things, build houses. It's not all that. There's a lot of houses sitting around here that are taking a lot of time to get turned around. Private houses get turned around in about 3 weeks to get fixed.
Right.
Sometimes it can take 6 months for a social house.
Easy, yeah.
So all these boarded up houses and all, it's frustrating for people to be walking by, can't afford a house. No, actually can't afford a house, but not in this country. You just people going, we can't afford a house. Like, how much have you got? Well, I've got 50 grand saved. And how could you not afford a house?
Yeah.
You know, so
it's a shit show. Even in Bonnog where we live, there's about 4 building sites within 2 minutes of
behind the house.
Bleeding plant the flower at your backyard and you wake up, there's an apartment block behind you, like, and yet there's still a fucking housing crisis. Like,
and you know you'll see as well, you'll see a lot of the if you put the percentage in of who takes social housing basically, then you'll see it's Tallaght and Clondalkin and like Binglis and these areas and all, and like, and then there's like these areas that are like, oh no,
not
like,
there, yeah.
There was a situation up where there was a vote to build 12 houses on council land, but basically it was being used as a football club or something like that, and there was being a promise that you don't own this land, that we're going to be come back and build it. And one of the first things on it was like, no, because of antisocial behaviour. And I'm saying, okay, so a pregnant woman moves into one of these houses, and you've automatically said, because it's social housing, that this is going to create antisocial behaviour. Okay, I don't agree with that.
What's that saying? Yeah.
And social housing and social schemes and all this kind of stuff is an investment in our country in a way. Now, it needs to be respected. And that's another thing we can go on to now in a second. It needs to be respected. So, say my mother would have availed basically of social housing and stuff like that, and but then she probably wouldn't have been given back as much.
yeah.
But then she created me as well. And then the idea is like, I employ a lot of people now. I pay a lot of tax. I help a lot in my community. So it's an investment into the future of what's going to come. You know what I mean? But then I'm not into people taking the piss out of it either. But then I'm not into people running it on elections for it as well. Remember, your Taoiseach ran on welfare cheats cheat us all.
Yeah.
He ran on that.
Crazy, isn't it?
And that was a direction towards only thing. But then if we had a conversation about, say, I don't know, say if somebody came into the country and we've had relative conversations where some people have created horrific crimes the last little while and they were on, and it was like, you can't be saying that. Don't be saying that. And it's like, well, I have a memory, and I remember the Taoiseach saying that welfare cheats cheat us all. So why haven't some of these people been walking that committed horrific crimes? Do you know what I'm saying? It needs to be a question to be asked.
Unfortunately, not allowed to ask these kinds of questions these days without the bleeding backlash that comes with it.
This is it. They won't even have a debate and stuff like this. And the sad part is about this, right, is that people that do come to, say, Ireland, this country, and they come the right ways, and they come seeking refuge and stuff like that, and we are the Céad Míle Fáilte. We welcome people into this country, and we always have. It's them people that suffer as well when we fill up the boat. So I'll try and make this like a way. Imagine this being the Titanic. And we were on a lifeboat in a way, because that's the way Ireland is at the moment. We ain't on a big, huge ship. We've got lots of housing problems. We've got lots of social problems. We've got mental health problems. We've got housing, homeless, medical lists. We could go on for a million years of the list of what we have problems, right? And we're going back to the people in the water. We cannot take everybody on the boat. And it's actually going to be terrible leadership to say that we can.
Yeah.
Because we're all going to die. So imagine the guy on that boat is the leader, and we're sailing back, and he's like, we're taking everybody. Even if this ship sinks, we are going down with it. That's not the leadership I'm looking for. It would take a good leader to actually say, hold on. Like they said at the time, like women and children and so on. And that's what I would agree with in that way. So this country in 2022 had an increase. Now, this is not me saying, it's not fake news. Go on to RTE, because they actually said it. It's 415% through the IPAS system in this country. So IPAS is international protection, okay? And if someone is coming here for international protection, absolutely. Let's extend that Céad Míle Fáilte and welcome them in. But a big percentage of the countries that a lot of people are coming from are designated as safe by that country as well. So 20% of influx in this IPAS system was people from Georgia. Okay, now I run a gym. we have people coming in that like basically are international protection or whatever it is and stuff like that. And some of them, it's like, no, you're not running for your life, and they'd be like, oh, just bounce, you know what I mean? In a way, I'm not going to grass them up either, you know, in a way, because but we in 415% increase in 2022.
Jesus, year on year, just from 2021, is it?
In 1 year, it increased by 415%, right? Let that sink in.
Jeez.
So, and the reason why people go, well, why is that? Our government is blurring the lines, and it's so sad to see, because what happens is the people that do genuinely come here and the people who work in our hospitals, the absolute heroes, angels on this earth that are Filipino, that come to this country, I would stand in front of a bullet for them people, and I'm telling you that now. But what our country has done is they blended everything together, and then people get confused, and people start going, right, well, hold on. And then say the Ukrainian people that came here, they came here on a different project. IPASS is a little bit different.
Okay.
IPASS is a situation where you can land here without a passport. You can claim asylum.
Right. Okay.
And if you claim asylum, you have to go to the IPASS centre in town, basically, and present and fill in your paperwork and stuff like this. And then your application will be processed, and you will go to court. And if it's accepted, you will be accepted as a refugee. And if it's not, they'll ask you to go home, but go home yourself. You deploy yourself.
Okay,
so you have to go to the airport now and
get a flight out.
And they don't really have a system basically to
manage that.
To count this either. So and my information is coming from the questions that I'm watching being asked to the Justice Minister. And the answers are not there. So
yeah, they don't have the answers. Yeah.
If someone's saying to me, Paddy, can't believe you're saying that's misinformation, so I'm looking for the information. I'm not looking to have a conversation because I don't hate anybody, but I do love my country. And I love Ireland. And anyone who wants to call this Ireland their home and they're willing to work to make that happen, I love them too. We don't have a play. We don't have room now. And our own, Leo Varadkar just said this a while ago. They play both sides of the coin in a way. He said, actually, we have taken in our fair share, and these will definitely be used for soundbites come November when it comes to the election. And they did the same during COVID when they said, I won't mix the both conversations because it would get them thing. But
just angry.
It is, you know, it's just I want to try and use this moment here to actually explain to people that.
Please do.
Be very careful where you put your anger or who takes your peace of mind, because you might think that they're on your side, but they might not be. The other side could be running them too. Who knows? You know what I mean? Be open to everything and be yourself. Be a good person first of all. Be open-minded and don't fall in with this crowd thinking right, we hate everybody. No, we don't. No, we shouldn't hate anybody, but we should be allowed to have a conversation about immigration in our country and about the lack of accountability for it. And that should be right, you know what I mean? And that should be allowed. That should be in a democracy, you know. Like
big time.
Carol Nolan was shout out to her at TD. We probably wouldn't agree on everything, but on this one, there's a female TD in the I think it was the Senate at that time, and they basically were like, don't you say that. You're going to create social cohesion. Basically, you're going to cause trouble. You're walking a very thin line. And there's some of the lines, you've got male politicians saying to her, you know what I mean? As in, like, be very careful how you talk around here. Like, she's elected. She's elected for Leishan Offaly. Shut your mouth and let her talk. And let the people speak about it, because I'll finish on this on the kind of government thing is because always remember, and people forget this, they work for us.
Yeah.
There's an Article 6 in the Constitution that says that we have basically the ability to designate our rulers. So if you look at it, the word rulers is taken literal, and then they get to make the decisions on what the common good is.
Yeah.
And in the future, this is something we need to change. We need to change, like, we fought a rulership and an empire to get away from rulership, to get a contract, which is a constitution, to then elect more rulers. Let's take that word out. Let's change that one, yeah? Now listen, if I end up missing because I said that, that was the part when Paddy Hoolahan signed his face. You ever see that video on Instagram?
That's when he fucked up.
It was at this moment.
He should have stopped talking. But I read the Constitution and I'm not stupid.
That's it. But they treat you like you are. And I think, as you are saying, you just kind of go from one fucking prison cell to a different one, but you're still grilled in the same way, just by different people.
This is it.
And as you were saying, like the essence of a healthy democracy is you can have one view, I can have another, he can have another. None of them align. And we say, we disagree. That's all right. Go for a point anyway. And like these days, like having
war,
a different
isn't
opinion
it?
is it's like the battle lines are drawn, and if he's
Yeah,
on this
yeah.
side, I can't fuck with him, and he's not cool with me because he thinks this. It's mental.
That's where it grows. So there's that's if you in a democracy where you're in an environment where you can't debate and you can't have a conversation, basically means that you're in a controllership basically. So you're being controlled then. There's growth in when me and you can have a conversation and disagree. Like there's many people who disagree, but there's loads of people I agree with. And now I'm actually starting to have that conversation with people on say Instagram or whatever. I get back to people. I talk to people. People, I can't believe you got back. And it's like, if you were giving me a chance here to educate you and actually show you, this is not my opinion. This is not my like, well, this is what I believe we should be doing. I have no want for power or any of these things. I'm telling you. There's a scene in Gladiator basically where he says, "So you just take
what a movie!
Yeah, what a movie, isn't it? I love that film. I love it.
Next show, Maximus.
Yeah.
Maximus, Maximus. What a film! But he says in it basically, he says, so you would do all of this and you would get the power and you would return Rome as towards the Republic and you would just give it back to the people. And he said, yeah, because that was the wish of a dying man, basically. I don't want it. People say you should be Taoiseach, you should be president, Paddy, and stuff like that. I want to create where the pendulum of democracy stops swinging. It stops from the left. It's like, right, it's on the left. And then they start fighting and they start doing so much wrong that all of a sudden it starts swinging. And then we end up on the right. And then they start doing it wrong. Swing.
Back to the left, yeah.
So I'll have a little, you can snip it even this little bit, you know what I mean? It's a good kind of thing. In the process of it all, on the left side, there's 15% and they're absolute nuts. There's on the right side, there's 15% and they're absolute nuts, right? Both of them people will never ever agree with each other. They won't even have a conversation with each other, right? Yeah. And then in the 70%, there's us. The people who walk, the people who actually are out there. I'm not saying they don't walk either, but we're just going to walk, just living our lives. Or I'm not into politics, Paddy, you know. That's 70% of the people is actually where all of the power is in.
Yes.
And they're the biggest non-voters because they don't believe in the system, in the ideas. And I don't blame them either. The game, in a way, it's not understood as much now. We actually have a really good democracy system in this with the transfers and the idea of that, but understanding it as a whole other game. And I know that. I was in the counting centre in City West. I topped the poll in a thing. But the media were able to make people nearly believe that I wasn't elected anymore.
Really?
So people are saying to me, like, so you got kicked out of Sinn Féin? You're like, no, I left Sinn Féin. I said, we left Sinn Féin after a year and I just didn't renew my membership. And it's like, why? Because I gave them a season to see what it was like. I own that seat. That seat in that council is mine. I ran for that. It's the people's seat. And they're like, so people are at the opposite idea. Like, you can't have seats without parties. No! Parties can't exist without seats.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
As someone who has little to no knowledge of politics, even that, I didn't even know this.
And I'm
talking to the right man.
Talking to the right man, because I've been spending the last 5 years getting really up to date on this. And my grandfather, Lord rest his soul, was preparing me for a role that I didn't even know. He was talking about this stuff, and I'm like, oh, you just want to be chilling here with you. We're not into this. Any custard.
I love the telly there, really.
Yeah, he used to put custard and jelly under the sink, and I used to be like, any minute now he's going to break that custard out. But he was actually preparing me for a role. And I'm standing in the count centre and the counting, and people are like, right, you're after getting a number 2 there, Paddy. You're after getting a number 3 there. I'm looking at them going, you're a loser. You know what I mean? Why would you want a number 2s and 3s? Vote number 1. That's what we want. Like, we're watching The Simpsons. It's like, vote number 1. Where in some places, that's how it works. It's called first past the post. So, whoever gets the most number 1s wins. I like that system. But in Ireland, it's different. You can vote for Fianna Fáil, Sinn Féin, Labour, all on the same ballot.
11 or 12 different
11 or 12 here.
Right,
And then some people think that you have, like, and some crannies go to the door and go, you have to fill them all in. So you always get to vote off each other. So it's a snaky system where, here's my idea, right? People go, who should I vote for? Find somebody in your community, right, who represents the community and is running as an independent, okay? If they have a party under them or around them, I learned this the hard way, they won't be able to say anything. They won't even be able to vote against what's going on.
Right,
So if you go into the Dáil, say, they had a vote for no confidence, right? Sinn Féin called this. And I'm like, why? And people are like, because maybe, just maybe. I'm like, no, it's not going to happen.
Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael aren't going to vote against
No,
it.
the reason they can't. They have to go with the party.
Right.
The party whip. You know what I mean? Now, I go as far as to say it's illegal, but it's like you will lose a lot of like you cannot go against the party. Basically, that's it. In the party whip, and if you do, you're rogue. Then make your life live in hell. You will not be running on that ticket again. All right. So all of a sudden, we end up with in the democracy. If we have 3 parties, we're getting led by 3 people. The leaders of them parties. So this is what we need to do, okay? This is the plan that I have and say this should work. People talk about revolution and stuff like that, right? The revolution that people have in their mind is the revolution of 1916. 1916 won us the ability to democracy, basically to be able to have these conversations. And then I had someone in the council the other day going, but we could have got home rule. And then so we go, where are that, will it? Like, if you know what about home rule, it was like we get to rule our country, but England owns it. And it's like, And anyway, but we won democracy, right? But everyone associates rebellion and a thing with what them lads did. Them lads stopped and surrendered and stuff like that because they didn't want citizens getting hurt. They didn't want the country being smashed up. They were very different people. They didn't really agree with each other on a lot of stuff. So Padraig Pearson, James Connolly, they probably wouldn't agree with each other.
Right, okay.
James Connolly had the workers' union and the Labour basically and that kind of stuff. And people go like, he's a socialist. He was a nationalist socialist. It was James Connolly basically.
Right, yeah.
And people go, in the council there the other day, I was voting to, they voted against this, to float the flag from the 3rd of May to the 12th of May at half-mast, right? In representation of the honour of the people who died in 1916, the leaders. Somebody said to me, that's very nationalist. To commemorate the people who got you your seat that you were sitting there for. You wouldn't have that seat if it wasn't for people like Padraig Pearson and people that actually got together and put their differences aside. And they actually said it was too nationalist to represent the we live in too diverse of a community now and offend people basically. Like, no way. Like Paddy Pearce said, this is Ireland. Outside Ireland, this will always be Ireland. People go, it's never going to... Let me tell you, I've been in Boston, I've been in these places. This will always be Ireland. If it's not Ireland in Ireland, the view of being Ireland outside is massive. You know, it's like, you're Irish, oh Jesus, I'm Irish, you know? And it's like, so Ireland will always have that essence in the world. So, back to my part of like, this country needs to be represented by the industries and the industrial places, okay? So imagine there was seats reserved for the nurses, the police, the army, the fisheries, the farmers, the industries that were recognised. And we learned through COVID how important they all were. Distribution, the truckers, all this kind of stuff, right? And them little industries had their own little elections to basically put people forward for the election. Okay. There was seats reserved for the industries. So you have somebody representing, say, agriculture that is that's an actual farmer. And there's there can be parties too, but people think that Sinn Féin are going to go in and win the next election. They will have to double in size, which is probably it's an unrealistic view.
Right, okay, yeah.
They'll have to run 80 candidates and get 80 candidates more in at the same time, where their biggest ever election was 40 odd just gone, and that was tipping the poll.
Yeah.
They're not going to double that. So what are they going to do? Are they going to go with Fianna Fáil? Are they going to go with Fine Gael? Or are they going to go with, I don't know, that bleeding radical people or whatever? That was sure COVID. They were like, we want more COVID. We want COVID on steroids. So we have a chance. Like, we see what they're like, you know what I mean? In that way, and it's madness. It's madness what's going on. So imagine we had that where a party had to basically go into these votes that we're talking about with Helen McEntee, the vote with no confidence, and no one knows who I'm going to vote. No one knows who he's going to vote.
Yeah.
Right,
no one knows who that person's going to vote. Now all of a sudden,
an actual vote. A real vote.
Or you might start acting like a proper minister so you didn't ever end up in these situations.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you were a minister and you know, no matter what happens here, no matter what goes on, and no matter if they call a vote for no confidence, I'm going to sit there with a smile on my face and be like, and what are you going to do about it? There's no accountability.
That's bleeding schoolyard bullying stuff.
Yeah, this is it. You're dead right. And that's what these are like. And see if you don't agree with it, they'll do exactly what a schoolyard bully does. They'll bully you. But let me tell you, I cannot be bullied. I am unbullyable. I will not be bullied. And I will not see other people bullied either. That's who I am. You know what I mean? Hoolahan is a hooligan, which means proud, which means our motto is, you can Google it, is for the home, for the family, for the country. So I was born for this role, is where I am. So, and as I said, whatever's guiding me into it, I'm here. I'm here now for a reason. And I'm educating myself, and I ain't getting run out by people who had not even a morsel of the troublesome life I had or experience I had in life. And I will not be able to represent some other communities, I understand, because maybe I don't have enough understanding there.
Yeah.
I won't. Area, the massive 70% of the people, I think I speak to them. And I think a big part of being who you are, representative, is actually understanding what the people want and what you represent.
Seems like a simple enough ask, doesn't it?
There's 5 million people here, 7 million with the North say, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
This is an island. There's places in America that are bigger than our country.
Yeah.
And they're being ruled in a decent way. We have the ability, being the mighty Irish all over the world, to take, right, we're going to put the Irish light in the sky. Help, right? And it's actually happening now. So I'll go into the hate speech bill now in a second. I don't want to sound too boring here, but I want to try and educate you on it and keep it as, I don't know, entertaining as possible, I suppose, yeah? So the media outside this country is absolutely like, what's going on there? Oh my God, they're going to pass that because they actually understand what's going on. And Irish people, they're the same. So the people who live here are kind of starting to go, oh, we don't want that. Even they don't want that. The only people that want this are our government and the NGOs. They don't have a job if they don't listen to our government because they need to create these things. So if you go to basically, you've got Tucker Carlson, you've got all people talking about basically what is going on. You've got Elon Musk heavily into this.
I've seen that.
And if they don't like them, do you know what they'll say to you? Yeah, but we don't like him.
Yeah.
And you're far right now for saying that. And for even liking his post. I've seen you like that on Tuesday.
You retweeted that, yeah.
And do you know what happened to some people? And they'll show you away. Where it's like, go back to the schoolyard. Shut your mouth. Shut up. Talk to me like that. I like who we want. I like whatever poster we want. And I listen to the devil if he's telling the truth. That's me. People are like, you can't share that. You can't post that. And this start that happened early, basically, when, say, we was in Sinn Féin. I'm looking around and go, I say whatever I want. I say whatever I want. And the big kind of fallout there, I'm not fallout, but a woman had opened up her salon or something like that, and she had to feed her kids and stuff like that and all. We put a post up saying, you know what? Fair play to her. She just said, okay, she went for it. She had to open it up, she has to open it. And then I got messages saying, take that down. We don't support that. And I'm like, well, good luck to you. But I do. That's it. And it's like, all right. Don't be me them boys. Do you know what I mean? I don't do that. I'll be me and I'll be saying whatever I want. And if I'm wrong, I will hold my hands up. Hold my head and say, do you know what? I was wrong there. Or I shouldn't, I slipped up there, or maybe I had better words for that. And I've done that and I've held my hands up. And that's how it works, you know what I mean? So, it's a slippy slope that this country's in now, in the idea of where we're going. So, will I get into the hate speech bill?
Please do, because I've seen a lot about this on social media the last couple of days. And
why is it? Because I don't even know.
That's exactly it. I don't even know what it is. I've just seen loads of stuff being shared, like, are Ireland actually going to pass this? Is this actually coming in? I was like, I don't even know what we're talking about here. But
This is heavy, right? And that horrific situation that happened in thing, and all of our prayers and our thoughts should be with them children. We don't have updates on how them children were after that day that happened that Thursday. Yeah, the riots. More even the riots, I want to make sure that I'm talking about the children who were stabbed that day, and their care worker and the people who intervened. All of the people who intervened. And let me tell you one thing: you're walking down the road and someone starts stabbing somebody, and so for you to intervene, that takes a big amount of courage.
Massive.
And we have people kind of arguing online as well. Well, this person with that, and it's like, listen here, if you're getting caught up in them arguments right there, that's going to take away from this main thing here that we had a horrific situation in this country where children were stabbed basically in broad daylight on the way to school. That should be one of the only conversations that we should be having now. They should be the only updates we're getting. But unfortunately not. Our government has used this to fuel something that they've always dreamt of, which is the hate speech bill. So back in May, you go to my Instagram, I done a project called A Letter to the President, because this had passed 4 stages of the Dáil.
Okay.
But it was held up in the Senate, right? Now I'll tell you the reason why. So you see hate speech on the tin, you're like, yeah, well, I don't agree with calling people bad names, and I don't either. Or insulting people on race or gender or sexual orientation. Absolutely not. I don't agree with any of that. But that's not what this bill is.
Right, okay.
Right? That's not what it says on the tin. That's what Trojan horse is what I've called it.
Yes.
And I said this in the video in May. A lot of traction got to that, basically. It was about, this government are not listening to us, so let's go straight to the president. And I got children and all of this to kind of explain that, like, say no to, we say no to the hate, the bill of hate, basically, right? The president has the job to be able to sign the bill or send it to the Supreme Court. He has little power outside that. But sending it to the Supreme Court is massive, because what happens is that it gets scrutinised properly. So it will be taken apart by absolute professionals.
Right, yeah.
When people have read this bill, professionals already, it does not define the word hate. So basically, if you walk into a room and say, ladies and gentlemen, and 4 people decide that was hate, and they go to the police station and said that you had hate speech in a room full of people, basically, the police are going to have to investigate that now.
Right.
And let me tell you one thing, when you start getting investigated and now you have a job, or maybe you're a counsellor, or maybe you're something else, but now you're under investigation from the police, and now you try to go to America, and all of these things that people aren't even talking about, you're under investigation for hate speech, incitement. And we have laws for these things. So the riots, I'll go to the riots, but a prayer should always be with the people, and our updates of them children, that they should be only thoughts that we should be having across this world, and how they should never happen again. And the man who did this should feel the full wrath of the law, and his name be released and stuff like that. Now, if it's to protect the children and stuff, I understand, but let's not hold on to this for a long, long time. We are not hearing about the updates on these children and these care workers and stuff like that. So let's reserve the time for that. Now, I'll go on to do we need hate speech laws for a few lads that broke windows and burnt the house? Do we agree with any of that? Absolutely not. This is what I love this town. To harm this town, to think that you are harming the government, makes absolute no sense to me. They don't drive the house. They don't ride on the house. They don't go on the bus. They don't shop in that shop that you smashed the window on. You know what I mean? So I'd ask the motivations of these people, like, what were you trying to do? And then it's made out that basically, like, I've seen the videos. It was white Irish people. It was black Irish people. It was probably foreign people too. Everybody was taking advantage of that situation as well. And there was people in there protesting. So, like anything, a big collusionation of together. Just like the Rocket Man during COVID. Remember? The guard got hit with a rocket, and now that's it. We're banning protests because one guy shot a firework, alright? Shouldn't have shot that firework either. Don't condone that. And I don't condone smashing up this city. But let me tell you one thing what I don't do. There's laws for that. There's laws for criminal damage. There's laws for incitement. There's laws for all of this. So, say my friend, some bullshit case that they're trying to bring against Connor or whatever, which way I've read in the newspaper that they said it's like, so if you don't have laws for this, how could you be investigating someone on incitement or whatever it is? You already have laws for that. So don't give me that bullshit on that, you know? And then public order, all of the people, should they be imprisoned for breaking windows and burning things and stuff? Yeah, I understand their anger, but you need to get that together. Do you know what I mean? You need to get that together. But what should not happen, number 3 in all of this, is our government should not be using this to push a dream that they have had way before this. They have this bill ready. They're not creating this bill now because of what happened.
Just off the back of that,
So using this, and let's remember here, children were stabbed in broad daylight on Dublin Street, and our government are bringing in hate speech bills for that. That makes no sense. It's like, well, the people after it, we heard a message, a WhatsApp message, and the message said this and that. But when Leo was being investigated, all of the WhatsApp messages were just discarded to the side I'm not listening to WhatsApp messages. And apparently these people were talking to these messages about direct provision and making money and stuff. Go have a look at the messages again if you want to have a look at that. So I'm not in it. I don't play ball where it can bounce either way, and that's okay. So I go back to the welfare cheats thing, and then all of a sudden we have a situation where if anybody mentions that the guy who did stab these children had not worked, or the guy who stabbed Aisling Murphy had not worked, or had not contributed for 10 years, people go, that's not, you can't be talking about, you can't be saying that. It's like, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't, but you can't choose both of them.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't choose, you know what I mean? Where the classism part, or no, that's racist now. So, and this is a hard conversation. So I hope the newspaper don't whip it apart, and that's what they did with one of my podcasts before. And I'm actually saying at the start of it, now listen, this isn't real, because one person would cut this part out, and then they cut that part out, guys.
Yeah. It doesn't suit the agenda, so.
On my own disclaimer, on my own podcast, on the control, they cut that part out and play the rest of it.
Doesn't shock me.
And it's like, fuck you. Watch, you'll see. We won't cut it out. You watch what we do. So, the hate speech bill, they do not define hate in the hate speech bill. So basically, they have no definition for that. So if you go to court and someone says, I feel a hateful because he, I don't know, plugged that word in the wrong way. It has to be described in court now whether that was hateful or whether it was not. This is a quagmire for the courts. Our courts are already backed up. And then what are we going to do? Prison these people? We don't have any room in the prisons. The prisons are all full. So them using the stabbing of them children as a way of getting this bill through, when 75% of the public in public consultation said no to this bill. 75% of the people that were asked in a public consultation said no. Okay, it's all on my video that I said. I'm talking about this in May. I'm sitting in a little park having a conversation, and it's a letter to the president basically. So people are saying to me, "What can we do now, Paddy?" I don't really know, because if you see the Helen McEntee, let me tell you one thing, they have the numbers to get this through now, and the other sides are, the oppositions and all, are afraid, but like, no, but they're going to say that we're racist. And anyway, we should have no place for that in any society of racism. We should never have any place for that, and I'll fight for that to the death. Nobody should ever be able to do this. But we shouldn't have people where they're able to whip people with that, and they're afraid to speak now because people are going to label them as that. We need to be able to have conversations. We need to be able to have the debate. Do you know what I mean? There needs to be like diplomatic through that, diplomatic process through that, where we can actually have them conversations. So the other part about the hate speech bill is the police can come into your house with a warrant on suspicion of you having hateful material, okay, even if you didn't publish it, and they can take your phones, they can take your laptops, they can take everything, and if you refuse to give them the codes off this, you get 12 months in prison, and everybody's laptop gets taken, your ma's phone, everybody's phone, okay. And I don't know if you have conversations with people who've been, their phones have been taken by the police and stuff like that. Sometimes you don't get them back for months. And who you argue with?
Your house gets raided.
You know what I mean? And they don't get them back for months, or your laptop or your DV off your camera or whatever. You don't get that off for months. Do you know what I mean? Which is madness. And if you don't give them the code to it, they can go in and listen to what's your message you're having conversations with your girlfriend now if they want to. No. Not over my dead body. Or if you have a piece of material, a meme that they just seemed hateful, they said, okay, we feel this hateful. You have to prove that you weren't going to publish that. So what happens is the onus of proof. Remember, like innocent until proven guilty. Whoop. Flipped. That's reversed. It gets flipped all the way around.
Guilty
you are now
proven innocent.
guilty until proven innocent in a way. And let's not forget, people go, well, if you don't have anything to hide, Paddy, well then you shouldn't have any problems with it.
But
that's like saying then if you don't have anything to say, you should just shut up. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean, in a way. So we don't have anything to hide. It's the same with the cashless thing that I'm on as well. Like cashless in this society, I hope every single one of you in this room is using cash from now, and it's not a mad conspiracy. You're going to see. I've done lots of campaigns.
As long as the tax man's not watching. As long as the tax man's not watching.
The tax man, people say that as well. That's a great response that people say. And I say, let me tell you one thing. You can get cash. Take it out of your bank account. Your tax man has already been there. He's already seen it. It's not like we're not talking about getting paid in cash. Do you know what I'm saying? And people get same again. It gets mixed into the quagmire. It's like, well, if you deal with cash, you must be a drug dealer or a criminal. And that's what gets said. And then it's like, no, because who benefits from a cashless society? The government. The banks. The big cozy club that's always been there. The one that got bailed out way back when all the people were left to die. And the same people are running the country who bailed them out. You have Mia Martin and Ryan. They sat at a table and bailed us out in the middle of the night, bailed the banks out in the middle of the night and left the people going. In the middle of the night, they robbed their country, they robbed their people basically, and they gave it to the banks. They jailed a few bankers, but let me tell you, we need to jail a few politicians. That's what needs to happen. We need to make some room, and we need to jail a few politicians, because there can't be any accountability, because the votes are always, they're always knowing what's going to happen.
It's rigged in their favour,
So how can you run as a minister for justice and not do everything that you want to do, knowing that even when it comes down to it, you have to get voted out by the people in there, not the people. And that's where we're at. So
that's a scary place
to
be, man. Jesus.
It's a perfect storm to gain more control, isn't it? And there's a word you used 2 or 3 times there, which was sense. Like, there's no fucking sense. Like, it's fully fucked, isn't it? What is going on?
they're trying to make it out that we are absolutely stupid, and that there's like that. The political class is a class of its own in this country, and it's like they think they're born of a special womb, like playing Macbeth or something like that. They are not. You know what I mean? They are people like me and you. And to be honest, they're probably the sons of the sons of the sons now. Where I ain't. I'm fresh blood in here. You know what I mean? I'm fresh new. You know what I mean? In the way of like my mind is open to all different possibilities. Well, you don't know politics. That's probably a good thing. You know what I mean? I don't know how to play corrupt. I don't know how to check in on my expenses all the time and all. Maybe I do lose out on it because I haven't got a clue about expenses. The council, you got expenses, people have it down to a T. Now, 100%. I kind of got it in the end, like where I was like, right, maybe I should for my phone and stuff like that. Fair enough. You can get your office done up every year for $4,000 and stuff like this. You know, there's mad stuff going on with expenses. So I'd be like, no, we need to take it back where it's not it's not a role that is gained. So the last little one, you talked about control and about sense. So there's another thing people need to keep their eye out on, the WHO treaty basically. So in May there's going to be a vote on the WHO treaty. Our government have already said that, we're sound with that. Do you know what that means?
Nope.
So the WHO treaty means that if they declare a pandemic, they take the reins of all the countries. So we'll have the boys spitting the dog going, we can't do anything about it. Like they were in COVID going, well, we just have to follow the WHO. And the unelected Hoolahan fella who ruined the bleeding name, he needs to check out what that name means and come back in, tweeting from his car, I'm not rope with the people out on the street here or not. No one cares what you say. No one cares what you say. Do you know why? Because you tried to cover up the smear scandal a long time back, and a brave woman named Vicky Phelan had to go to court and had to take you where you are. Yeah? So that's what it's going to take again here. It's going to take the people. It's going to take us to take the government to the Supreme Court to scrutinise the hate speech bill, and then it will not go through. And we will have the outside media of the world watching the government take an ass whooping off the people. So whenever we have to make a GoFundMe, whatever has to do it, I will not be lying down on that. We're going to take the government to court for Supreme Court, under the Supreme Court for the hate speech bill. For proper scrutiny, I will. If it costs me every penny I have, I'll do it. Justice isn't free. The WHO treaty, we need to do the same as well. But we need to start showing, and we don't even need, if we had a president that had a backbone, he'd do it for us. Why would you not want more scrutiny? You know? I asked for an investigation into COVID deaths in the council, a vote. Let's vote. They're through the roof. I put the motion in before they were through the roof. And they're like, how did you know? Because I seen it coming. How do you not know? Lockdowns, suicide, trials, all sorts of stuff going on. How do you not see this coming? So when the mayor's like, are you like Mystic Pat? Because I put it in January, the motion doesn't come up for like 6 months later.
Right, yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're sitting there with excess deaths through the roof, record numbers. I gave all of the people a handout, everybody, gave them all a handout. They voted against it. They voted against an inquiry. Why would you not want to know more? It cost us money. We banked 8 billion into a bank account that people probably don't know about. Surplus. And 10 billion's going in, I hear, in a little while again. Really? Because we're doing so well as a country. We're rich, mate.
Are we?
We are rich.
Well, we haven't seen a penny of it.
No.
Fuck's sake.
Because the reason that 8 million was in circulation, what happened is the inflation would go down, the rents would probably go down, the housing prices would probably go down.
Yeah. Great, yeah.
So, for us.
Not for them, yeah.
Not for them. So, a lot of the stuff I've said on this podcast, make sure you get registered to vote. Do not be afraid to speak your mind. But let me tell you one thing, don't be an idiot either. Don't go follow some sap that doesn't know what he's talking about, you know what I mean? And maybe someone's gonna go, maybe Paddy's a sap, but come back to me with the things that I don't know I'm talking about, or the proof that I haven't already put forward. And at the end of all of this, I don't gain anything from this. If anything, I put my head up the parapet.
Yeah, you're up for scrutinisation.
On the beach that I'm saying, trying to get to that machine gun on the top of the hill again. I'm trying to get there, and I'm trying to ask these people questions, and I'm trying to keep them for some common sense and accountability. And I'm just marching and guiding on that guidance that I told you about, and that's all I'm doing. And I don't hate anybody. I don't think this government here have any remorse for anybody and any of the actions that they take. And I've just proved to you and said to you now, the accountability doesn't matter, and the opposition know that. But why are they playing the people by putting this forward, saying that, oh, we're going to take her for this and we're going to do that and we're going to do that? They know that isn't going to pass. So please don't take us for fools.
It's political games, isn't it? Brownie points.
It's, do you know what? Even that word political, I mean, you hear the people go, ugh, they just go away from it.
Here's your next stand up.
It makes we could go all day, lads, like on the... We could go all day on the language that gets used, you know, and it's like, but I'm asking you as people here now, and as podcasters and stuff like that, you need people to be accountable now, and we need it now. We need people to stand up. We need your generation now to start doing something and actually care, and get off your phone, get in the gym, get your head good, get your mind good, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Don't be messing around. Don't be watching the Kardashians to see what they're up to. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. You know what I mean? And they probably are not. They're probably not who they see him either. They're probably not able to say. You see people coming out. The game is coming out talking about Israel and Palestine. Okay, I support the Palestinian people, and I have for all of the time because I understand their struggle. There's now people in America starting to go, whoa, hold on. I didn't know that them people had been oppressed and
yeah.
So that could be another whole conversation. As I said, where I don't want you to be sitting there going, "This is an hour's podcast." Maybe another time. You know what I mean? But that's another horrific situation, and what's happening in Palestine now is and it's not. Don't just call it Gaza. It's Palestine. People, if the way the word gets changed, now it's Gaza. It just got smaller. is horrific. It's genocide. And the false information come from out there is showing me that they're getting worse at it. It's called atrocity propaganda. So atrocity propaganda goes back into the 1600s. Cromwell used it against the Irish and the rebels. It ain't new. They said that the rebels were taking babies from their mother's wombs and leaving them to die. And you can go and have a look at this stuff. Look it up, you know what I mean, in a way. And yeah, it's called atrocity propaganda. And that gave him the ability and the people's support in England to come and massacre the Irish. So know your history before you come at me.
It's a scary game, isn't it? It's like that idea there of, like, say, that Cromwell example there, all the people supporting him, hearing that story, think they're doing like a virtuous moral thing.
Yeah, and that's 70% I'm talking about.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, there's a quote I seen the other day, and it was like, until the lion learns how to write, the glory of the hunt will always belong to the hunter. Because whoever controls the story controls how it's viewed.
That's beautiful. I always say you can't be mad at a lion for eating you just because you didn't eat him.
Yeah.
And that's the way it works. So if you're at the government, that's where they are. This is their job. They went to school saying, I'm going to be a politician. Watch them people. Anyone who ever did that, watch them. Apart from the youth that are saying, now I want to fix it. I need to be a politician to fix it. Because that is happening as well now. And I'm seeing that people are going, people say, Paddy, I want to kind of be like you now. You know what I mean? Like, how did you do it? How did you make it? And I'm like, I don't really, I can give you tips, but it's all about just doing your thing, get to the gym, chase it, believe in yourself. And that's how I did it. And it's like, now we need you to do it. And just because somebody's working class, just because somebody comes from your neighbourhood, don't just swallow what they're saying.
Yes,
yeah. Because they'll start getting people from your neighbourhood there, you know what I mean? And we need to be careful, and we all need to link together here, you know, like the 70% of people need to tell these 15% on the left that are getting radical, shut your mouth, shut up, stop, we don't want to listen to you anymore for a little bit, and then we listen to your debate when you get it together and you actually have some, and then this right side, they're the same, they're again, and that 70% of people need to start putting their hands out, we need to start crossing our communities a little bit more, we need to get rid of this classism, we need to get rid of this idea that every single foreigner that comes here is bad. That's wrong. You know what I mean? There's bad Irish people. There's bad people who come here. It's all the same. But we need a process where we get to figure out who's who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. I have got one question. It's not politically related, but it's something me personally as a fan of the Hooligan always wanted to ask it and figure
Hooligan's
out.
the other way now, you're not.
We're going back to the Hooligan times. And it was when your UFC career had to come to an end and your fighting had to be put to a stop because of obviously the blood condition that you had. Firstly, was that news to you that you had that condition, that was going to be an issue, and then just like, how did you deal with the fact that that door was shut on you as opposed to you being able to say, I'm retired now as a fighter, whatever else, like that decision was made?
Well, it was 2 weeks out from a fight, which was even worse because I was kind of ready. I was in camp and stuff like that, and it came, you know what I mean? Like to me, it didn't seem to be as serious as I had expected it to be.
Because you fought a couple of times in the UFC previous to this.
I fought loads. I trained for my whole life. I grew up in Jobstown where I had brain surgeries. Do you know what I mean?
And it never came up,
But then, as I said, sometimes the control is not in your hands, you know what I mean, with that way. So
that's true.
I was distraught. Something I truly loved and truly I'm good at was fighting. And I wasn't just good at fighting and winning, I was good at fighting. I was good at winning and losing. You know what I mean, in a way. Sometimes I lost and I gained more fans than I did when I lost. I feel terrible, and my community or whatever would lift me up. I'm in the square and people would be like, Mo, you look after yourself, you keep your head up, and people would be coming to my house baking bread and like sitting in your house like I'm about to fail at everybody, but I didn't. Do you know what I mean? They seen the human part of me. They seen the side of me of like, no, I'm not invincible. You know what I mean? And I used to say it. If you go back to the basketball arena, I don't know, hopefully you'll find a video. I said, I'm just a little kid from Jobstown. I'm just one of yous. And that's what I said on one of my speeches, and that was it. And I meant that. You know what I mean? I still mean that. So, but I needed that. I needed that whole guided thing. Something was telling me, I've got bigger plans for you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You need to move in a different direction. At that time, a lot of stuff was falling apart, and the homelessness in the country and all, and that's what kind of got me into politics.
Right,
in a way.
okay.
I seen the homeless system, and I'm like, hold on. So we put nearly hundreds of billions into places that are actually not houses. Someone else owns them, and they make the money. Why don't we just take the money that we're spending into all of these buildings and build the houses? Silence. No answer. Where do I get the answers? Bam, 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 knock on the doors. Bam, bam, bam. No answers.
Nobody.
So here I am.
Kick the door down.
I'm looking for the answers. The door's off the hinges. We're in. But that's what we need to do. Because let me tell you one thing. These people are not. They're not They're not special. They're not. Sometimes when you talk to them, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
They're not. Maybe they don't know as much as you think they might know. You know what I mean? And that's it. Like, it's scary. We're being led by the weakest among us.
Oh, that's a fact. And there's one, like, whatever you think of Paddy Hoolahan, his politics, his views, there's one thing you can't deny. He gives a fuck.
And
I promise you this.
Passion.
Leo Varadkar, Neil Martin, they don't give a fuck.
I can
about
imagine
me, about
them
you,
on the other
about
side of
anyone
that
else.
mic, yeah.
Let me tell you, boys, it's crazy how deep it is. Like, the Talking Bollocks lads had Eoghan Martin on. What the fuck, like?
Jeez, I didn't listen to that episode.
I didn't either. I listened to snippets of it, but my main thing was that were they going to, and this is not a job at the lads. Look, the lads fair play, they're working class lads and getting after them like that. But come on, ask them about why did you ruin the country? Why did you ruin our housing estates? Why did you let him victimise the people? Why did you go in with him as a party after you said that a government of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael will not serve the people? Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden it served you. He said this.
He said that.
If you go on YouTube, you'll see he's like, that's some Jekyll and Hyde behaviour. That's the language he uses. Because he said, would you go with Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael? Oh no, I wouldn't even be having that conversation. That's disgraceful. That's some snide Jekyll and Hyde behaviour. No, that would be me. I'm for... And then the minute that opportunity comes, they're like, how do we get Sinn Féin out? We go in. And people think Sinn Féin are the answer too. And I'm telling you, I've just told you. Parties are not the answers. We need a country ran by the industries and the people, the representatives of our communities. Imagine Philly McMahon stood up and ran for Ballymun. Imagine Katie Taylor ran for Bray. Imagine Conor ran for Lucan. I ran for Tallaght. People go, but they're not politicians. Exactly. We're the ones that they have to have the accountability with now. We sit there.
We'll run for Bon Oak.
People have ran businesses, and we're smart now. We're a bit clever. We dealt with multi-million organisations, billion organisations. Some of these people haven't even been in the council. Some of the leaders of these parties now never did a stint in the council. They went straight to the doll. Let me tell you one thing. That's like missing the regional scene of fighting. And go to the UFC. It's like you're doing a CM Punk job on it. People who say to me, what makes you believe? And I'm like, my mate fought Floyd Mayweather. I remember when it wasn't Conor McGregor like that. You know what I mean? You've got Jake Paul and all these. The world is open. And social media is the government and the political is worst nightmare. So they've quagmired it. They've mixed it all. They've scrambled it all together. So it's our most powerful weapon, but it's our worst weapon too, you know. And then when you bring hate speech laws in, let me tell you one thing: they're rushing in this stuff. They're not saying this because I don't like your haircut, you know what I mean? And that could be hate speech in a way.
Yeah, fucking hell, man.
Imagine the two he's got the same haircut.
Fuck that. His missus wouldn't tell the difference then.
Might try it out. Yeah.
That's mad. That's mad.
You only see it now.
Ah, we know again. We have a few questions for you. If someone hit him, would you feel it?
We always get that one.
Do you always get that?
Yeah, we do now.
If you're hungry, is he hungry?
I'm fucking starving all the time.
Do you ever get the dreams like that, like our links?
Never actually.
We've never talked about dreams.
No.
They
That's a little social experiment.
Things never really.
Nah.
What do you think about it, boys? You were in something like the size of a football for like
Together,
9 months together, like, face to face.
Big time. Face to arse or something.
I don't know which one's worse.
Which way you were lying? And did you ever get really pissed off being twins around?
No, we've always actually been best mates. We've two younger brothers, Jaden here, who's behind the desk today, and another little brother, Alex. So we always got along really well.
All brothers?
Yeah, all boys. 4 boys.
Fair play to the help.
I know, I know.
Good shift.
Yeah. Job done.
That's a man full of testosterone. Great, all boys. You know what I mean?
You love that now. You love that.
A gentleman's family. You know what I mean?
That's what they say.
Girls at the end. So maybe I was going up 2 boys. And then I was like,
you peaked too early.
You're going soft. You're going soft.
I love my life from them. It's mad to even say I have daughters. Driving home from the team, I was like, I have a daughter. Oh no!
Different struggle, I'd imagine.
Different struggle.
One more question.
No,
this is the last one I'll ask you. You can finish off on this, right? You're obviously a very passionate man. No matter what you've done in your life, you've flung yourself into a head first and figured it out as you went along. On your deathbed, when Paddy Hoolahan is no more, how do you want to be remembered?
I have this mad like fear in me about me kids not being looked after or not being sorted in that way, and not even just in like financial ways, because I feel like maybe in a few years we're getting there. But the idea that they understand what I stood for and that they follow on, and I think that's so important now. That we need that more now than happen. They need to, like, I'd love to one day my daughter or something like that to to be more equipped than me and actually be my and say, look, I only go into politics because like I really understand what my dad has been talking about and saying and how and I understand the history of the country and let me tell you, the history we were taught in school is not the history, it's a whole different conversation. As you said, the hunter and the lion thing, that's not the same history. So there was a guy named Harry Boland, real quick.
Okay.
Michael Collins had him killed. Well, not killed, but he sent for his arrest in the Grand Hotel.
Really?
Anyone can watch the Michael Collins film. He gets shot in the sewer. To pay that, he's shot in the sewer. That was the end of him. He was killed in the Grand Hotel, shot in the belly by a Free State soldier who was sent on the orders of Michael Collins. And then 22 days later, Michael Collins was killed. And then Eamon de Valera took over. Eamon de Valera's son went on to be a gynecologist, and he ran a lot of the adoption agencies in the mother and baby homes. It goes deep. It goes deep. And it's like, yeah, but the history, Irish history, Michael Collins was great. Dev was great.
Yeah.
That's what you get taught.
Yes.
So history and all is not what it is. So I want my family, my kids will bring forward the history. Some of the stuff like Harry Boland had done was, he had went to America, he had got a fund of $5 million. He lent 20,000 to the Soviet Union because they were breaking down at the time. They gave him the jewels of the Soviet Union as a deposit. He hid it in a chimney in Rathgar, and it was only found in like the 40s or something, you know what I mean, in a way. And it's like, wait, you don't hear these things, you don't hear these stories. And maybe Harry Boland at the time had it sorted, so he hadn't clipped. I don't know, maybe that's a conspiracy. That's not me saying, it's just a thought and opinion. Do you know what I mean? But he might have had it sorted. The American people would have said, no, hold on, they just flew the face of democracy in the 1919 election at that time. Sinn Féin won that election at that time. And the eradication was to eradicate the proclamation into a constitution. We didn't end up with a proper constitution until 1927. Right. So, history's my thing. So my kids, this is what they hear off me. And I wrap this into nice stories in a way.
Yes, yeah.
So when they're having conversations in a while and someone starts saying something, they're like, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
And they have the audacity and they have the name, the Hoolahan, the Hooligan. So he said, and they know what that means. They know what our motto is, and it's not just my motto. My grandfather's name was William Hoolahan. His dad's name was Jack Hoolahan. His dad's name was Patrick Hoolahan, and his dad's name was Patrick Hoolahan. And he was born 3 years before the famine, and we stayed.
Hard to get rid of the Hoolahan.
I can't go. So
that's what you said in the Ultimate Fight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We come here to infest.
It was actually a Tommy Tiernan saying, would you believe? Yeah, because it was at that time.
You liked them.
And then I was like, never meet your heroes. You know what I mean? And anyway, I want my kids to understand that there is a plan for the Hoolahans, there is a plan for their communities, and I want them to follow it on. You know what I mean? I want them to be proud of themselves, proud of their nation, proud of their country, proud of their traditions. You know what I mean? But not fucking stupid.
Yep.
Right. Well, do you want to do the outro?
So last thing
if
for
this
you.
is better than a 6.
Oh, the outro.
Oh, the outro.
So this is our last episode of season 1. We're going to have season 2 coming after the new year. So we always ask the guest to leave a question that we'll ask the next guest. So what question would you like to leave for whoever's next on the hot seat?
You don't know who they are, no?
We don't know yet. No, we don't know yet.
It's not Micheál Martin, by the way.
Bobby Micheál. Oh, you might get a chance. You might be like, well, maybe I might, you know, who knows? What have you done to improve your community and our country lately?
I like that. That's
the point.
different,
Yeah.
Different to anything else, but a very important question.
That was the good thing about the Snow Shame podcast. And look, if I had time, I'd bring it back in the future, maybe.
Yeah.
But,
No bullshit.
No bullshit. Like, if someone's bullshit, I'd be like, that doesn't
That's
sound
bullshit.
right. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
I like it, man. I like it. Well, look, Paddy, I can't do an outro as good as Lee's intro, but what I will say is you came on the podcast, you said the impact or the influence you want to have on someone else is to help inspire them. But I think one thing that you can do on a podcast better than anywhere else nowadays is plant seeds.
Absolutely.
For people to go and say, you know what, I never thought of that, or I didn't hear that. Let me go and dig deeper or look further into it. And as someone who probably would have just scrolled past stuff on like hate speech or whatever else previously and been like, politics doesn't really apply to me, it's not really my gig, not really into that, to see how that actually applies to a working class person or someone coming up who's probably feels a bit like disengaged or disassociated from all that stuff, and to see how those little things actually make such a big difference and the ripple effect of that on the generations today and to come in the future, and how it starts now with every single person in this room and in the wider world taking ownership and responsibility is like eye-opening. So thank you for that. Thanks for your passion for all you do. We really appreciate it.
I just want a few plugs here.
Yeah.
So
plug away.
The flow therapy tally. If you've never floated, you don't do any flotation. Get up to flotation therapy tally and have a go at it. And let me tell you one thing: I don't go into business or invest in things that are not unbelievable. They blow your mind. We have now opened a yoga studio, Fire Flow Yoga as well, up there as well. Get up, get your mind right. Hoolahan Martial Arts, Clan Hoolahan, up there on the Green Hills Road as well. Changing lives every single day. If you feel like you're just on your sofa, you don't know what to go, you don't know the road, start doing some jiu-jitsu, start doing some training, start being around some people like-minded like yourself, and I'm there all the time. You'll hear me talking like this, and you know, not political, but let's get out, like Braveheart speech every class. but the idea is that so there's some of the business. If you want to support me, support them, and obviously my Instagram and stuff like that you can follow, and and get behind the campaigns, and don't just listen to me. Don't just listen to me.
That's it. Well, as you always, I think you said it a few times in your book, either come home on your sword or with your sword.
On your shield
or on your shield and with your sword.
With my shield or on it.
There we go. So Paddy, keep wearing that shield proudly.
Absolutely,
and we look forward to catching up with you again in the future.
Thank you. I'll probably get whacked for this one now.